Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. The fear that the local currency would indeed hit 5 cedis to the dollar by end of the year may be confirmed earlier than projected. Checks with some of the major commercial banks in the currency business show that the local currency on Tuesday closed at around 4 cedis 99 pesos. Some have attributed the challenge to a pickup in dollars demanded by businesses, while supply by the Bank of Ghana is limited. Meanwhile, some bank treasurers and currency dealers are pushing for Bank of Ghana to increase dollar supply to help halt the cedi's depreciation. Head of trading at Barclays Bank, Jacob Brobe, however, says the intervention should be strategic.
The currency would have to find its level at some point. I know that the discussion is a bit difficult when people hear about the dreaded 5, right? But as a currency, if you ask me as a trader, if year to date the currency has done about 7-point-something%, less than 8%, and if you juxtapose that with what is happening in the other emerging markets, then I would say our currency has not done too badly. But then it's still important for central bank to monitor it closely and then step in as and when it's needed.
Would you advocate for Bank of Ghana upping their support? Because some would say that is the essence of currency management, to try and hold that continuous rate of depreciation, or you think that let the forces of the market, demand and supply, dictate it?
The ideal would have been to allow the markets of demand, the forces of demand and supply to determine the level of the currency. But as I said, we have so much at stake when it comes to the exchange rate, right? Because we have significant amount of our debt in foreign currency. And if the currency depreciates to a certain level, it also goes a long way to balloon the debt level. Because, for instance, if our the foreign component of our debt is, say, $1 billion, right, and the currency is 4 to 1, it means that if you translate that, the foreign component in our local currency becomes 4 billion, right? But if you allow the currency to go to, say, 6, the debt level, the same 1 billion foreign component, down $4 billion component, that becomes 6 billion in local currency. So there's so much at play. And I wouldn't say that the government, given the structure of our economy, the central bank should just sit on the fence and allow the currency to go. But what I will not recommend, that as a country, we've chosen the path. We have decided to liberalize the FX market, and once we've done that, then we should allow, to a large extent, the forces of demand and supply to determine where the rate should be. And as I said, when central banks strongly feel and believe that there's a need for them to step in, they should step in at the right levels, right? Because currently, as at yesterday, if you check the Bank of Ghana website, you see a rate around, I think, 4.8. It means that if they hit the market and they want to support, they are likely to support the market around 4.8 levels.
Meanwhile, Ghana has made some giant strides in developing its financial markets for prudent investor returns. That's the conclusion one may draw after going through the latest Absa Africa Financial Index released in Accra on Tuesday. This is because the country has been ranked 7th in Africa on financial market development. George Rafi takes a look at what has influenced this current position.
Financial Market Index reviewed 22 developed markets in Africa on 6 pillars. That is, market development, access to foreign exchange, market transparency, capacity of local investors, macroeconomic opportunities, and enforceability of market contracts. From the 6 pillars, Ghana was ranked very high with 4th position in market debt, coming ahead of countries like Botswana and Egypt. However, scored low when it came to the capacity of local investors to participate actively in the market. Director of Absa in South Africa, George Asante, has been speaking to Joy Business about the report.
The country is looking at things like changing its legal framework so that it respects financial market contract. That is one area where I see as a quick win for the country. How do we transform that legal framework to be able to support financial market contract? Then the last thing that came up is also the innovation that is coming through from the regulators and market participants. So, for example, the issue was debated about how do we ensure that we release capital that is held up in all these houses or real estate that is walking around. I mean, the banking sector has 80 billion. How do we get the capital market to be involved in that 80 billion and transform that 80 billion into additional capital?
However, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Marcelo Pokuaferi, has some issues with aspects of the report.
If you look at the index, I think it still has some work to do. It is really capturing what is on the ground, but I think there is some work to do. And I think I've shared this with George, both in DC and in Bali. And I'll pick on just two. If you look at access to FX, I get a sense that the index is actually picking the volume of FX available. And for that reason, you have a country like Nigeria way ahead of a country like Ghana in terms of the oil FX that comes in.
Speaking at the same event, Director of Financial Service Division at the Ministry of Finance, Samson Agliko, also announced that they are fast-tracking a new set of regulations together with the Bank of Ghana to help improve supervision of the financial sector.
We're working with the World Bank and a couple of consultants to put the framework together. But if there's anything that these challenges that we have seen or we are seeing has taught us, is that, look, you must find a way to protect good institutions and find a way to punish the bad ones. And so we have to really deepen that call.
Deputy Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Paul Abedio, on his part, said they are committed to improving the environment to help aid the growth of the sector as well as attract more offshore investors.
The Trades Union Congress has expressed confidence that government has all it takes to meet the revenue targets in the 2019 budget if it goes according to plan. Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, tells Joy Business at the sidelines of a post-budget forum in Accra, equipping the Ghana Revenue Authority and other mobilization agencies will help in meeting the targets.
Government's revenue target for 2019 is about 58 billion cedis, up from the 46.8 billion cedis for 2018. The Trades Union Congress believes the decision by government to enhance revenue collection through implementation of programs like the Tax Identification Number System is laudable. According to the TUC, if government finds more innovative ways to resource the Ghana Revenue Authority and provides staff with all the necessary logistics, the 2019 target can be met. Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of a post-budget forum here in Accra.
I believe that it depends on self-discipline. We must discipline our expenses, we must discipline our policies, we must be up and doing. When we enact policies, we should follow that policies to the letter and ensure that the right things are done. It is time that the government raise the whip against any irregularity or anything that is tantamount for corporate acts. If you do that, I think we can manage this country with no help from anywhere.
What about the fiscal targets? Do you think government have all it takes to meet the target?
If you really resources the revenue collecting agencies, they'll be able to do that. We have a lot of graduates outside there. If you think the number of employees in this sector are too small, please engage them. Let them go out there and they will be able to get whatever target that has been set for us.
Meanwhile, the TUC is urging government to institute measures to improve fiscal discipline in the public service to avoid Ghana going back to the IMF.
It's something that we have come for many years ago. So we are happy to hear that at long last, the exiting from the IMF programs has been captured by the 2019 budget, because IMF has never, for us as Labour, think that IMF's program has never helped us in any way. It has rather deteriorated and made people worse, especially workers. In cases where there's a ban in the employing people, it's a very negative thing that government today, government tomorrow, and yesterday have done. But we are happy that we are exiting from IMF. But once we are exiting from IMF, we must also be very conscious about discipline about ourselves. Because I think IMF always come in when they see that the country is indisciplined. But I'm surprised that you are, for your own country, you have your own resources, and you can't discipline yourself unless somebody comes to shape you to do ABCD, which has not helped us.
The Organized Labour Post-Budget Policy Forum is organized with support from the Frederick Ebert Stiftung.
And that's all in business tonight. Many thanks for watching. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are